Hi, YouTubers. Welcome back. My name is Natalka, and you have found Cooking with Natalka. So today we are going to be making some homemade rice pudding from scratch. How many of you guys like rice pudding? Like, I love rice pudding. It's not something I make very often, and I've never made it from scratch, but I really enjoy it. I don't know why. Something about it, it's just really good, but yet I really don't like risotto. I know, I'm kind of weird that way. But anyway, this is something that I've been really looking forward to making from scratch. So let's get to it and start making some homemade rice pudding. All right, to get started, you need a medium-sized pot, and you're going to put it on the stove on a low heat, and you're going to add 1¼ cups of whole milk, 1¼ cups of coconut milk, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 cup of long grain white rice. And you're going to mix that all together, and then you're going to let this simmer. Keep it on a low heat so that your milk does not scorch to the bottom of your pot. While you're waiting for your rice to cook, you're going to take 1 egg and put it into a small bowl, and you're going to mix that with a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar and just whisk it all together. And then you're going to set this aside until your rice is cooked. All right, so your rice, make sure you are stirring it often. You don't want it to burn to the bottom of your pot. It took roughly 25 minutes for my rice to cook and absorb most of the liquid. It's long grain rice. It's not 5-minute rice, so it does take longer to cook. And when I timed it, it worked out to be roughly 25 minutes, give or take 1 or 2 minutes. Soon as the rice is soft enough, remove it from the heat. Your rice is still going to look a little watery, we'll call it. That's okay. You want it to be that way. So now you're going to take about a 1/4 cup at a time of your rice, and you're going to slowly add it into your egg and your sugar. And what you're doing is tempering your egg so that when you put your egg and sugar into your hot rice, it will not curdle. So I added roughly a cup total of the rice into my egg. And I just did it a 1/4 at a time so that I could do it slowly. All right, so my egg is tempered. I'm going to pour it back into my rice, and I'm going to mix it up really good. I want to make sure it's well combined. And then I'm going to take my pot of rice, and I'm going to put it back on the stove on a low heat for approximately 3 minutes. 1 to 2 minutes to heat it up, and then the 3rd minute will be just to thicken my rice pudding. And then I'm going to remove it from the heat. I don't want to cook it more than that because then it'll curdle the egg and ruin the rice pudding. Once you remove your rice pudding off your stove, you're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, a tablespoon of butter, and a 1/3 cup of sweetened dried cranberries. And you're going to mix that all together until the butter is melted and the vanilla is all mixed in and your cranberries are all mixed in. Basically, once the butter is melted, then you're all done. You can serve it in some dishes, sprinkle a little cinnamon on it, and you're ready to eat it. Now you can eat it warm like this, or you can let it cool down, and as it cools, it's going to thicken quite a bit, and you could eat it cold, whichever way you would like. I tested it straight out of the pot, and I could not stop eating it. It was so delicious. Oh my gosh, you guys, this turned out really, really well. I am so happy that I used coconut milk with the whole milk. It just, the flavor it's creamier. It has more flavor to it, a little richer. It is really good. So when I was deciding on making my rice pudding from scratch, I did a little research. There's so many recipes out there. A lot of them are like cook your rice first, and then after your rice is cooked, then cook it again in milk and do the whole pudding thing, like I did in this video where you you temper your egg and then you mix it all back in. That just seemed like a little too much work for my liking. And there was a lot of suggestions for different types of rice and what to use. So I took all of that research I did and came up with this recipe. And I did it with, as you saw, half milk, half coconut milk. I used just a normal long grain white rice, not 5-minute rice. And instead of using raisins, I used sweetened dried cranberries. And I couldn't be more happy with how this turned out. Oh, and just a sprinkle of cinnamon on top. So I really like this. You know, I did my research. I figured out what I wanted and what I didn't want. And I wanted to make the recipe super easy. And it was. I made this all under an hour. So it's a really quick dessert. It really is. And just to let you know, as it cools, which it cools very quickly, it thickens quite a bit. When you are reheating it, if you are eating it warm, add more milk into your rice pudding as you're heating it and keep mixing it in until it becomes creamy again. And then it'll taste like it's made fresh right from the pot again, even though you've probably reheated it in the microwave. So just a few little tips for you. I really hope you guys will give this a try because this rice pudding is creamy. It's so flavorful. It turned out really well. So for those of you who are rice pudding lovers, this is a good one to try. All right, remember to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. Next time I make it, I might omit the milk or use less milk and more coconut milk to give it a much more coconutty flavor. But anyway, just a tip for next time. All right. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you guys all next week.